Well, good morning and welcome to School Budget Vote Day here on Frankly Speaking. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio, and I'm so glad that you've joined us this morning because we have a lot to cover. I would love to hear your thoughts on your local school budgets. Feel free to weigh in at any time. This came in right at the end of the program yesterday, and I missed it. So I'll read this message from a viewer now. It's definitely a no vote for me, no matter how many times they present it, which is typical. What should happen is if this first vote does not pass, they'll come back with another suggestion, if you will. Then you'll have a vote on that, and then it goes to the contingency budget. But we would love to hear, when I say we, I'm the only one in the room, your thoughts on the school budget. Okay, a couple quick things just to start your mind racing this morning, getting your thoughts on it. We're going to go through some quick updates. There is a lot of discussion, and rightfully so, about the timing of the announcement of former President Joe Biden's prostate cancer diagnosis. We're going to get to some of the talking heads, if you will, what they had to say, just some of the facts behind it. In particular, that's a little bit later on in the program, and we have some fascinating New York State updates as well. First, I sometimes started the radio program back in the day with this, so I thought I would do so today. I think I've done it a few times on the program. The New York Post interviewed a Long Island nun who also happens to be the world's oldest at 112. So she gave 4 words of advice after a lifetime of service. She said, teach until you die. That was her tip to living to be 112. You have to be a saint before you get to heaven, she said. For some reason, God doesn't want me yet. I feel normal. I never gave my age a thought. It just happened to me. So celebrating her 112th birthday, saying, teach until you die. She lives a blessed life, she said. She's known to frequently cook a big Italian meal for the nuns in town. There we go. On something before it gets into the negative. Okay. According to new data, this is from Reason. And I pose this question to you. Americans, especially women, feel less free. And unfortunately, the data supports Americans' take on the state of freedom in the world. So do you feel less free in the world today? Okay, now let's get to the breaking news. The U.S. Supreme Court, according to Reuters, let Donald Trump's administration on Monday end temporary protected status that was granted to hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans in the United States by his predecessor, Joe Biden, as the Republican president moves to ramp up deportations as part of his hardline approach to immigration. The court granted the Justice Department's request to lift a judge's order that had halted Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's decision to terminate deportation protection conferred to Venezuelans under the Temporary Protected Status, or TPS as it was known, while the administration pursues an appeal in the case. The program is a humanitarian designation under U.S. law for countries stricken by war, natural disaster, or other catastrophes, giving recipients living in the U.S. deportation protection and access to work permits. The U.S. Homeland Security Secretary can renew the designation. Monday's brief order from the court, which has a 6-3 conservative majority, was unsigned, as is typical when it acts on an emergency request. Liberal Justice Kenyatta Brown Jackson was the sole justice to publicly dissent. All right. There you are. That was breaking yesterday. Now, from an update to a story I brought to you late last week, former FBI Director James Comey does not expect that the Trump administration will take any further action against him over that Instagram post, which many, including the president, viewed as a call to assassinate the commander-in-chief. In his first public remarks since sharing an image of seashells arranged on the beach to form the numerals 8647, Comey told MSNBC, yes, he's a very welcome guest at MSNBC, that he found it hard to have regret over the post, as he still believes it looks totally innocent, saying it was crazy anyone would see it as a call to violence. Quote, I don't know how we ended up here. It never occurred to me it was any kind of controversial thing, but that's the time we live in. Comey explained that when he saw the shell formation, he believed it was, quote, some kind of political message. So you have a man who has been Johnny Law his whole life, right? And hangs his hat on that. He didn't know what 86 meant. He didn't know that it had a political message. Just shared seashells that just happened to say 8647. He said, we stood over it, and I said, I think it's some kind of political message. He said, 86, when I was a server, she did a lot of working in restaurants, meant to remove an item from the menu when you ran out of ingredients. And I said, well, to me as a kid, it always meant to leave a place, to ditch a place. That's really clever. So he believes, this is just to give you a look into Mr. Comey's personality, and he just must light up every party he's at. He thought that post was, and again, and I say, quote, that's really clever. Listen, whatever you think about that post, whether you think it was a threat, whether you think it was just an innocent post, I haven't heard too many people describe it as clever. So then she said, this is Comey, you should take a picture of that. And I did, and I posted it on my Instagram account and thought nothing more of it. I heard through her that people were saying it was some sort of call for assassination, which is crazy. But I took it down. Even if I think it's crazy, I don't want to be associated with violence of any kind. She must be what? He keeps referencing she. That must be his wife. Yeah, his wife encouraged him to send out the picture. Now, he did get interviewed by the Secret Service. He said they were pros. Now, Trump told Fox News on Friday he knew exactly what that meant. A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination. It says it loud and clear. Yeah, he can't use the excuse that he didn't know what 86 meant. But again, he maintains that he is totally innocent. I regret the distraction and the controversy around it. But again, it's hard to have regret about something that even in hindsight looks to me to be totally innocent. So does not believe he will be investigated any further. And that post was, again, quote, clever. Even, I guess, considering it an artistic political viewpoint. I thought, what a clever way to express a political view. The shells were the same color for each of the letters, with different colors for the letters. It took a lot of work. Somebody with artistic flair did it. I have a hard time believing it was anybody with a dark intention. It certainly was no dark intention on my part or on my spouse's part. So not only clever, doubling down even a little further, saying it had to be created by somebody with artistic flair. Boy, this guy must be a real life of a party, huh? Also, as an update, Representative LaMonica McIver, the Democrat from New Jersey, will be facing criminal charges for her alleged actions during a confrontation with law enforcement outside a Newark Immigration Detention Center earlier this month. What was the one legacy media outlet called it? A skirmish. A skirmish with ICE agents or law enforcement agents. Today, my office has charged Congresswoman McIver with violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 111A1, for assaulting, impeding, and interfering with law enforcement, said Acting New Jersey U.S. Attorney Alina Habba. McIver was among several Democrat lawmakers involved in a chaotic scene that unfolded outside the Delaney Hall Detention Center on May 9th, which resulted in the arrest of Democrat Newark Mayor Ras Baraka for allegedly trespassing at the facility. That facility has contracts with ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Many people calling this what it is, kind of a political show, trying to get this exact attention they are now receiving. Heba indicated that she gave McIver every opportunity to avoid being charged. I have persistently made efforts to address these issues without bringing criminal charges and have given Representative McIver every opportunity to come to a resolution, but she unfortunately declined. Well, this ultimately is what she wanted. She wanted the photo op, right? She wants to be, just like when you had, who was it, Murphy? How soon, I forget. But all those representatives that went to visit El Salvador to meet with Abrego Garcia, they wanted the photo op. Now, again, they have been a little quiet on that position about Mr. Garcia, Abrego Garcia, because of the more his checkered past has come to light. So they've been very quiet about it, but at the end of the day, it's about the photo op. So she and the mayor both believe that politically this is very good for them, that they're, I guess, being shown as part of the resistance that we talk so often about on this program. The U.S. Attorney continued, no one is above the law, politicians or otherwise. It is the job of this office to uphold justice impartially, regardless of who you are. Now we will let the justice system work. McIver, who has represented the 10th Congressional District in New Jersey since September of 2024, slammed the charges as purely political. Kind of the irony there of calling that purely political when, in fact, that's exactly what she was involved in this confrontation at the detention center. Earlier this month, I joined my colleagues to inspect the treatment of ICE detainees at Delaney Hall in my district. We were fulfilling our lawful oversight responsibilities as members of Congress, have done many times before, and our visit should have been peaceful and short. Instead, ICE agents created an unnecessary and unsafe confrontation when they chose to arrest Mayor Baraka. The charges against me are purely political. They mischaracterize and distort my actions and are meant to criticize and deter legislative oversight. This administration will never stop me from working for the people in our district and standing up for what is right. I'm thankful for the outpouring of support I've received, and I look forward to the truth being laid out clearly in court. Democrat New Jersey Representative Robert Menendez Jr. and Bonnie Watson Coleman, who were present with McIver when the scrum at the gates to the detention center took place, have also previously blamed federal law enforcement for the confrontation. Watson Coleman has accused ICE agents of shoving her outside the facility. Menendez Jr. claims immigration officials failed to de-escalate the situation, turning it into a violent scene. Now, if you recall, when this first unfolded, they were saying if there is any video of any of these representatives pushing or attacking law enforcement, it's probably a fabricated video, trying to get ahead of the curve, if you remember that. So that's just kind of a quick update on, again, what is being described as more of a political photo op than anything else. Okay, we're going to have a couple other updates in a little bit. Yes, we do have a lot about Joe Biden and that diagnosis of prostate cancer, with many, even on his own side, suggesting the timing is, well, curious. We'll put it that way. Also, I want to remind you that today is school budget vote. It's from 11 till 8. If you have any questions, you have any comments, you want to weigh in on the budgets, please do. If you don't mind, tell me what school district you're in, just so we can be more crystal clear about what your position is. I would appreciate that. I also wanted to remind you that tomorrow on the program, we'll be talking with Michael Volino. He is running for Steuben County Legislator in District 9, which is Cameron, Canisteo, and Thurston. That's tomorrow at about 7:20. Thursday, we're going to be talking with Sheriff Jim Allard. Yes, it's our monthly interview with the sheriff, so he'll be joining us on Thursday. And then on Friday, former congressman, current assemblyman, current chair of the Steuben County Republican Committee, Joe Sempolinski, will be joining us on Friday. We've had some great guests as of late, and we also have, and I believe this is going to be Thursday as well. We've got two other guests that I'm still working on because they're time sensitive, that they will be playing this week. I believe on Thursday, before we talk with the sheriff, we'll be talking with Judy Rowe, and she's going to tell us about the upcoming Chicken and Jazz event, which is being held next Sunday, June 1st, from 3 p.m. till 8 p.m. at the Radisson Hotel in Corning. But we'll learn all about Chicken and Jazz, a tribute to Green Pastures, either late this week or early next week. We're also going to hear from Elisa Trosha, who's been on the program before with Sylvia, if you recall. She's going to tell us about the Miss Colonial Days, which is coming right up. They're looking for contestants. So please, if you know anybody that would be interested in that, stay tuned this week and you'll learn all about it. All right, that's a little housekeeping. We're going to read your comments because I see a lot coming in. When we come back, stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
If you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
When you think swimming pools, think Hesselson's. Hesselson's offers expert advice, professional service, and a complete line of chemicals and accessories. Replacement liners, motors and pumps, automatic vacuums, skimmers, ladders, steps, and more. Hesselson's has it all. Do you have a chemical question? Come in for Hesselson's free computerized water analysis and the widest selection of chlorine and specialty chemicals. With Hesselson's help, you can clean up any pool problem and swim in sparkling clean water. Let Hesselson's show you how easy it can be to take care of your swimming pool. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Anywhere can record crimes as they happen, and we're going to watch them right here.
He just took his car.
With cameras everywhere, you can run, but you can't hide. Watch iCrime.
Catch Twins local news and weather by visiting WYDCTV.com. We've got daily and weekly weather forecast, question of the day, things to do, and more. WYDCTV.com, your website for everything.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. We got a lot of waves coming in, but we got one all the way from the Philippines. Yes, Jack, our good friend Jack, is in the Philippines and is sending in his morning waves to be a part of the program. We appreciate it. We're going to tell you about his story. He's going to send some pictures along, probably on tomorrow's program, just to show you some neat pictures and maybe some connection there with Frankly Speaking. Let's read some viewer comments. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Mark. Carolyn Levitt scolds the media for false coverage of Trump accepting a $400 million luxury jet. And her statement was it's not a gift or donation to Trump. Then Senator Schumer introduced a bill to ban any foreign aircraft from being used for Air Force One. I saw that this morning. Thanks for passing it along, Mark. Now, wasn't it reported yesterday, quite quietly, that some of the negotiations of perhaps using the Qatar jet were almost started in the Biden administration? I saw that. I thought I had printed it out. Maybe we talked about it yesterday. But there's just so much to cover. I don't see it in my stack here. But yes, I did see that Schumer making political hay when the sun shines, trying to put that bill through. Get a little more attention. He's struggling. It's okay. Comment from a different viewer in reference to James Comey. Comey has been a pathological liar for so long. How he was able to be in any place of authority is beyond reasoning. Will he be held accountable? Highly unlikely. It seems to all be a shell game. Nice. Very nice play on words. I appreciate it. Comment from a different viewer. Comey is a disgrace, a liar, and a joke. This shouldn't just be dismissed. My president could have lost his life twice now. And this man who absolutely knows what 86 means just made himself look even more foolish by claiming otherwise. By the way, good morning. Well, good morning to you, too. Thank you. Yes. Comey taking some heat over this, and rightfully so. All right, these we're going to go through quick. I do have a lot of New York State updates. I want to hear your thoughts on the school budget vote, which is today. Don't forget, if you need to set your alarm, but don't forget to get out and vote. A now former Bloomberg News, if you wonder if there's any bias in the news, a now former Bloomberg News reporter was arrested when anti-Israel protesters took over Columbia University's main library this month. We brought that story to you at the time. Jason Kao, who also used to work for the New York Times, was charged with criminal trespass after NYPD officers entered Butler Library to regain control of the building. Kao was given a desk appearance ticket following the arrest at Columbia. The graphics reporter is no longer employed by the financial news outlet, according to Bloomberg. The spokesman declined to comment when asked when Kao's last day was and whether the journalist was fired or resigned. The ex-staffer's arrest and apparent job loss were first reported by the Free Beacon. It is also unclear the role that Kao, a 2022 Columbia graduate who wrote for the college's newspaper, played in the chaos at the library. Just a quick update. Now, President Trump is calling for Bruce Springsteen, Beyonce, and others to be investigated on Truth Social. This came in late Sunday night. We had so much to report on from Truth Social and other, the Trump media cycle, that this missed our radar. That's why we're a little late on it, but I wanted to pass it along to you because this is a conversation we've had in the past. He wrote, how much did Kamala Harris pay Bruce Springsteen for his poor performance during her campaign for president? Why did he accept that money if he is such a fan of hers? Isn't that a major and illegal campaign contribution? What about Beyonce? And how much went to Oprah and Bono? I'm going to call for a major investigation into this matter. Candidates aren't allowed to pay for endorsements, which is what Kamala did, under the guise of paying for entertainment. In addition, this was a very expensive and desperate effort to artificially build up her sparse crowds. It's not legal. For these unpatriotic entertainers, this was just a corrupt and unlawful way to capitalize on a broken system. Thank you for your attention on this matter. I like how he ends that. Now, that seems to happen quite a bit. There was a mixed bag of how much of that was in all caps and how much wasn't. And then Monday, he doubled down, saying, according to news reports, Beyonce was paid $11 million to walk onto a stage quickly, endorse Kamala, and walk off to loud booing for never having performed not even one song. And we talked about that at the time. If you recall, that they had interviews with people that attended that were left very upset. And we had said at the time that Beyonce quote-unquote endorsement may have done more damage than good because the media was presenting it as a free concert, so people were excited to watch it on TV or to attend the event. Those, when I say people, Beyonce fans were excited about it, and she has quite a following. So they were excited about it, and then she didn't perform. So at the time, we suggested that maybe it did more harm than good, but we'll continue. Remember the Democrats and Kamala illegally paid her millions of dollars for doing nothing other than giving Kamala a full-throated endorsement? This is an illegal election scam at the highest level. It is an illegal campaign contribution. Bruce Springsteen, Oprah, Bono, and perhaps many others have a lot of explaining to do. Now, this comes off the heels of Springsteen when he was in Manchester last week calling Trump treasonous. In my home, the America I love is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, and treasonous administration, he said on foreign soil. Kind of an interesting... You've heard my issues with the boss in the past. It's hard to be lectured about the one percenters when he's charging $200 for general admission and selling his catalog and all these type of things. Listen, congratulations to anybody that becomes rich, but don't lecture other people and lecture the poor person that is trying to scrape by enough money to purchase one of your tickets. Also, Trump threatened ABC News over the Qatar jet coverage. Why doesn't Chairman Bob Iger do something about ABC fake news? Now I see that they are at it again. And I again give these sleazebags fair warning, Trump said. The wonderful country of Qatar, after agreeing to invest more than $1.4 trillion in the United States of America, deserves much better than misleading fake news. Everyone, including their lawyers, had been told that ABC must not say that Qatar is giving me a free Boeing 747 airplane because they are not. Trump said his lawyers have requested ABC stop calling the jet free, arguing the network fully knows and understands this highly respected country is donating the plane to the United States Air Force, Defense Department, and not me. And that comes off the heels. I know I'm running late. And again, please weigh in on the school budgets, weigh in on any of these topics of the day. But the head of CBS News has been forced out amid tensions with Trump. Wendy McMahon, the president of CBS News and Stations, had aligned herself with Bill Owens, the 60 Minutes executive producer who recently resigned. She told her staff in a memo that it's become clear the company and I do not agree on the path forward. This is in regards to Paramount is in talks to settle a $20 billion lawsuit brought by President Trump that accused 60 Minutes of deceptively editing an interview with Kamala Harris. We know that story. Obviously, it was selectively edited, but that has not stopped 60 Minutes from going back in and having that hit piece calling Trump a mob boss, only having one-sided interviews. But there's been kind of, I guess you could call it infighting at the network, at CBS, where they believe they should be, left unchecked by the powers that be and be able to just run a, if you want to call it news, but run a network that pushes the anti-Trump, anti-MAGA agenda. And they don't like that they're getting pushback. Even though it's a failed business model, the direction they want to go, which is this kind of anti-Trump network, at the end of the day, it's just like the college kids that keep protesting, and even though they know it could cost their universities a lot of money, these people keep pushing a liberal agenda, and the money starts to dry up, but they're still, at the end of the day, they don't care. It's all about pushing that agenda. So another one out, this time at CBS. When we come back, we're going to talk some New York State issues a little bit earlier than normal this morning on the program, because I do want to get to the kind of breaking story of the day, the criticism of the people around Joe Biden, a little bit about that book from Jake Tapper. We also have some other, again, the Trump news cycle, so many updates on Trump. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Seneca Lake offers you breathtaking views, gorgeous waterfalls, award-winning wine, and so much more. Your experience awaits you. Come experience Seneca Lake.
It's the 2025 Cardboard Boat Regatta. Hope that boat is sturdy for the big day, June 14, 2025.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. And how can we help like that in our small businesses, not to sound cliche, but are the backbone of our community? Let's talk about thanks, as always, to you, the viewers, for sending in your texts and your voicemails. Now we go to a comment. This is from John in Elmira. Make sure to catch Frankly Speaking only on AM Big Fox News WYDC, or visit our website at WYDCTV.com.
Fox 10 p.m. News is the first primetime local news for the Twin Tiers. Our reporters, Haley and Dante, scour the southern tier to bring you up-to-date news regarding local businesses, economics, and how national decisions impact our area. If you're not near a TV, don't worry. You can also catch our 10 p.m. news live on WYDCTV.com/livestream. Don't miss Big Fox 10 p.m. news on WYDC, on TV, or our website.
The Big's website is here now. WYDCTV.com. Local and national news that keeps you informed and involved. WYDCTV.com. Today's weather, up to date and in your town. WYDCTV.com. Sports news, local events, and health stories that affect you. WYDCTV.com. The Big Fox website. Your news here now. WYDCTV.com.
Our beautiful view of historic Marcus Street here in the Gafford District, brought to you by Boss Automation, Boss Security, and Horsets. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. on Market Street in Corning. Thank you to so many people who reached out yesterday, by the way, to ask more questions about the Dwayne Eddy tribute here in Corning. I'm going to have more information for you soon, but if you want to find out ways you can donate and have your name be in that commemorative program so that you are a part of honoring Dwayne's legacy here in Corning, you can go to corningtwang.com. Corningtwang.com. Let me try it one more time. Corning. Twang, as in the sound created by the legend Dwayne Eddy. Twang, TWANG.com. I hope that you will give it a look, and there's a way to donate there. Trying to pay off for that tribute. So if you have any questions, you can contact me on the number on the bottom of the screen or just go to the website, because I know a lot of people want to be involved in it and want to make sure that their name is a part of that historic day and that historic tribute to Dwayne Eddy. You can learn more about it, again, at corningtwang.com. All right, on the somewhat local, statewide front, did you see that David Muir from ABC World News Tonight with David Muir made a surprise appearance at his alma mater over the weekend? He surprised Ithaca College graduates Sunday during their commencement ceremony by introducing keynote speaker Bob Iger, the CEO of the Walt Disney Company. Muir and Iger are both alumni of Ithaca College. Muir said, "My visit here today is driven by two things. Obviously, the energy of all of you in this room, your families who love you and have helped you get to this moment. I'm here, obviously, for my friend and mentor, fellow Ithaca College alumni, Bob Iger." Now, apparently, David Muir's appearance was a tightly held secret, surprising both the class of 2025 and Iger himself. Well, there you are. Did you happen to see it? I don't want to go through his speech or what my thoughts on David Muir are. But right in our backyard. Okay, New York. This came across my email yesterday, and I know we have so many veterans who watch this program, and I thought this was very interesting. Wallet Hub, which is a kind of a polling place, releases this data on so many. I don't know how I ever got on their email chain, but they release on so many various topics. Well, with May being Military Appreciation Month and, of course, Memorial Day approaching, Wallet Hub released its report on 2025's best and worst states for military retirees. So here we go. If you are a military retiree, here is the best states for military retirees. Number 1, South Carolina. 2, Maryland. 3, New Hampshire. 4, North Dakota. The list goes on and on. Now, what are the worst states for military retirees? The worst, 51, Oregon. But weighing in at a dismal 42, near the bottom of the list, meaning that they are one of the worst states for military retirees, the Empire State, New York, coming in at 42. There you are. Discouraging. One of many lists that we are near the bottom of here in New York. Speaking of that, Governor Hochul, we have an update on the inflation refund checks that we'll be getting to in just a moment, because I realized I'm looking at my time. I'm running just a tad bit late. Your thoughts on your local school budget. We've had a lot of people weigh in on this the last few days and actually a few weeks. I would say, honestly, I think everyone that has commented to this program has been a no vote. If I'm wrong, you can please correct me. I don't remember anyone saying they're going to vote yes. I know there's been some criticism of the way that is worded, the idea of using kids by saying vote yes for the kids, when most people are just concerned about the absorbent costs of administration and the like. But your thoughts on your school budget, I would love to hear from you on that. Again, we've got a lot of special guests this week. We'll get you a better update probably on tomorrow's broadcast. So let's take a short break. We've got an update on your inflation refund check. We're also going to talk a few things here, just quickly about Cuomo. I don't have a lot on New York State this morning because we do want to go to the recent diagnosis of Biden, former President Biden, with that prostate cancer announcement yesterday or 2 days ago. Now some, and even in his own party and people that surrounded him, are raising questions about the timing right before, literally, a day before that Jake Tapper book is to be released. Some people wondering or calling it potentially another cover-up, just like the cover-up of his mental acuity during his 4 years in office. A lot of various opinion pieces on it, and I want to get your thoughts on it. And you can give me your thoughts already before we start talking about it. That's fine, too. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Attention, Elmeron may lead to vision loss.
If you have suffered vision problems after taking Elmeron to treat bladder pain, call the Hearn Law Firm. Elmeron may be responsible for your vision problems, and you may deserve compensation for your injuries.
If you took Elmeron and now have vision problems, call the Hearn Law Firm at 888-308-3866 right now. You could find out if you qualify in less than 2 minutes. Call 888-308-3866 for your free case review.
We lost our son, Brett, to a glioblastoma. This was our last chance to show our community who he really was. Carpenters, Phillips, and Flint, they were so willing to create that ceremony however we wanted to do it. They could not have been more gracious.
You should consider them highly. You'll feel good about your thoughts and your decisions.
Visit carpentersphillipsflint.com to learn more about our family-owned funeral homes.
Anyone, anywhere can record crimes as they happen, and we're going to watch them right here.
He just took his arm.
With cameras everywhere, you can run, but you can't hide. Watch iCrime.
It's a season of sharing.
Having a good time has always been my #1 goal. I tend to get crazy. At my age, I should not be jumping up and down like that. And if you don't know what I mean, ask your mama. The young ones, y'all like, we don't know what you're talking about. But I promise you, in 30 years, you will.
It's the best time in daytime.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. on Big Fox.
As always, we thank our friends at Boss Security for that amazing view. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. They're located right in Horseheads. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Comment from a viewer, and this is why we have such great viewers, reminding me of things that I had forgotten. This viewer saying, I wonder if David Muir had to cinch the waist on his gown at his surprise appearance. At college, yes, if he had to. That's in reference to it. And I hadn't forgot about it, but I wouldn't have put the two and two together. David Muir, during the LA wildfires, when so much was being destroyed, he found the time, and there was video evidence of it, to use a clothespin to tighten his, rain jacket or something, to look more buff, look more in shape. So I don't know if he did that with his gown as he made a surprise appearance at Ithaca College commencement, but that is a very great point. Thank you, viewer. All right, the inflation refund checks that you'll be getting from Albany this fall as a form of relief for all of your bills, your groceries. Yes, you will be receiving, depending on your scenario, $400 for a family, $200 for a single individual, changing your life like that overnight. But there's a new bill that's actually being put forth by a Democrat that would stop Hochul from milking those payments of up to $400 per household for political gain. It would bar New York from putting Hochul's name, signature, or image on those checks. Now, image would be over the top if she did that. You assumed it would have her signature. You would assume it would have her name, because many people looked at this as one way to, kind of curry favor not just for herself, who will be running the year after these checks come out, but also because it's going to come out in the fall, for Democrats in the midterm. So the senator who's proposing this is James Skoufis. We've heard his name quite frequently lately during this budget process. New Yorkers are facing an affordability crisis, and to use taxpayer-funded programs to capitalize on such a moment to shore up votes is widely inappropriate. No governor should have the opportunity for this kind of self-promotion, Skoufis said. He also dismissed the inflation refund checks as a political gimmick, much as Republicans had done since Hochul first pitched the idea back in December. It was a centerpiece, if you will, of her affordability agenda. He and fellow Senate Democrats had suggested a narrower approach tailored to senior citizens only, but Hochul prevailed in the end, though with much smaller check amounts than she originally wanted. And that's why some have suggested on this program that they'll be seen as more of an insult when you receive. And listen, we all will take $200. That's not the point. But at the end of the day, what does that, is that your groceries for a week? It's not any kind of trip or vacation, that's for sure. So some are looking at it as more of an insult. In a statement responding to the bill, Hochul's spokesman, A.V. Small, brushed off the intra-party jab and ticked off a string of priorities Hochul secured in the budget. They included the inflation refund checks, income tax cuts, higher child tax credits, and expansion of free school lunches to include all students. We understand it's easy for backbench legislators to get attention by attacking the governor. But we're not going to waste any time worrying about the daily stunts from this camera-chasing political fraudster. This is within her own party. She really wants her name or likeness on these checks. The bill was introduced back on May 15th, with just a few weeks left before state lawmakers are set to end this year's voting session, which is January 12th. No assembly version has been filed yet. Wow. Kind of like to see this. So again, if you are just joining us, well, they have been arguing, Skoufis and Hochul, for a while. Hochul has been governor since 2021 and is set to run for a second full term next year, with potential rivals in both parties waiting in the wings. She is focused on ways to improve affordability, and it is sure to highlight these checks as part of that effort. The bill to keep her name off them came a week after an ugly clash on social media as the budget neared final approval, with Skoufis issuing a blistering statement that accused Hochul of having run roughshod over the legislature and blasted her inflation refunds as a scam that will hardly register as a blip in people's bank accounts. Now, Hochul's people responded back saying, embarrassing juvenile stunt from a camera-hungry clown. Skoufis answered with a shot at Hochul's lukewarm polling and an invitation for her to take a drive on the state roads in his Senate district. So again, if you are just joining us, Democrat Senator James Skoufis proposing a bill that would bar Hochul from putting her name, signature, or image on the inflation rebate checks. Okay. A couple other New York State issues. By the way, please weigh in on the school budget, which, even if you already have, which way are you going today as you go to the voting booth somewhere between 11 and 8 today? In which direction will you be voting, or would you like to put a pitch out there for your thoughts on the budget? However you'd like to word it. I would love to read your comments. Oh, by the way, quickly, the FBI director has confirmed a federal probe into Letitia James. This came out yesterday. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is probing the Democrat New York Attorney General's real estate transaction, according to Director Kash Patel. The investigation is focused on whether the state attorney general, Letitia James, committed fraud on a mortgage application, a source familiar with the case told CNN. A grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia has issued subpoenas on the matter. They said James, who won a civil case last year against the Trump Organization, we know all that. Patel declined to share details about the investigation. He said in an interview on Fox News, "This case, I can tell you, is being handled by our professional pros who are subject matter experts, reporting directly to headquarters, which reports to Deputy Director Dan Bongino and I." Now, of course, James has suggested it's a political stunt, a politicalization of the justice system, which is ironic coming from her. This is someone that said that no one is above the law. We know that she used lawfare, and in many instances, I think was very beneficial in the long run to the Trump campaign. You know how important I think a lot of this lawfare was. Wow, look at how many comments just came in. What did I miss? But I think the lawfare opened up a lot of people's eyes and said, okay, I may not like Trump, but I'm not going to have people like Letitia James or Alvin Bragg tell me who I can and cannot vote for. So we'll keep an eye on that. We got to take a short break. Read your comments when we come back. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, stay with us.
Enjoy a taste of Finger Lakes at Hector Hideaway.
With dine inside or out on the deck for gorgeous lake views, and pair your meal with a local wine, beer, or beverage. Visit us today at Hector Hideaway.
Attention, it's the 2025 Waterfront Festival and Cardboard Boat Regatta. A day full of fun for all ages. Register at watkinsglen.com/waterfront festival. Hope that boat is sturdy for the big day, June 14, 2025. Race starts at 2 p.m. On your mark, get set, row.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. And how can we help like that in our small businesses, not to sound cliche, but are the backbone of our community? Let's talk about thanks, as always, to you, the viewers, for sending in your texts and your voicemails. Now we go to a comment. This is from John in Elmira. Make sure to catch Frankly Speaking only on AM Big Fox News WYDC or visit our website at WYDCTV.com.
Big Fox 10 p.m. News is the first primetime local news for the Twin Tiers. Our reporters, Haley and Dante, scour the southern tier to bring you up-to-date news regarding local businesses, economics, and how national decisions impact our area. If you're not near a TV, don't worry. You can also catch our 10 p.m. news live on WYDCTV.com/livestream. Don't miss Big Fox 10 p.m. news on WYDC, on TV, or our website.
Frankly Speaking, Roof Cam is brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Market Street, according to so many great comments. I did want to highlight that this morning there is not a Steuben County Office for the Aging segment of the program. We had so much to catch up on, but we always want to thank Steuben County Office for the Aging, committed to maximizing quality of life, safety, and independence. And we're going to make up this lack of a interview segment on this morning's broadcast by having sometimes 2 a day this week. So we're going to have plenty of interviews. We just knew we had so much to catch up on, and in preparation of the school budget vote. We knew I wanted to leave these times open if anybody would have reached out to have the conversation, and even having others, I think, make the suggestion. That did not happen. So now, here we are. We're hearing from you. And that's what's most important about where you stand on the budget. Let's get to some comments from viewers. People seem to miss the fact that they need to help educate their children. I have 3 daughters, 2 with masters, 1 with a bachelor's. My wife and I spent countless hours helping them, and it didn't cost a penny. Increasing budget costs is not always the answer. That is a very, very good point. It's not just all about, kind of the daycare idea and putting it all, the workload on the schools. And I don't think the budget increases. Well, I don't think numbers-wise it's proven that throwing money at the issue is successful. And I think school budgets in general, not just here locally, but throughout the country, throwing money at the quote-unquote problem isn't always the answer. Comment from a different viewer. So you're saying I can't book a vacation at the Atlantis anytime soon? No, not with your refund check. I mean, unless you can get a really good vacation for $200 to $400. I guess won't be traveling far, but thank you for that comment. Comment from a different viewer. I can't wait to get my check from Hochul so I could do a video of it burning. There you go. A comment from a different viewer, though, that has a different suggestion for you. If we end up getting this money, whether we want it or not, if you don't want it, why not donate it to a charity of your choice? That would be one way to direct some of your tax dollars where you want it to go. That is a very good point. You get the say in your tax dollars for once. You get to say, well, actually, I would argue that this is an opportunity with the school budgets where you have a say in your tax dollars. And at a time when we all complain, or so many people complain about the high cost of living in New York, it'll be interesting to see if people want to increase the taxes on themselves because they have the say in the school budget vote. But I like what you're saying about the inflation rebate checks, that if you believe that your taxpayer money is being misused by New York State, this gives you an opportunity, even a small opportunity, but $200 to a charity or an organization of your choice to better use your dollars. Okay, comment from a different viewer. No on the school district budget. Staff cuts are clearly in order. Thank you. And finally, good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. Not only am I going to vote against the school budget, if possible, I would vote heck no. I, like many others, have no children nor use the school for anything else. I also have a suggestion for a new state motto. If you still have $1 left, we're not doing something right. Let me try that again. If you still have $1 left, we're doing something wrong. I got it backwards, sorry. But I like it. Either way, that could be on the license plates. New York State. If you still have $1 left, we're doing something wrong. I like your wording of it better. Have a good day. You have a good day too. What a great idea. If you could get personalized license plates, that would be wonderful. Speaking of this, I should have started the program with this just to get people fired up this morning, but people actually already have been fired up this morning. Mayoral frontrunner, yes, he is the frontrunner, Andrew Cuomo, has hit the airwaves. Do you know what he's trying to use to highlight his record, to really promote his past, his legacy, whatever word you want to use? Cuomo is campaigning on COVID. Now, as Elise Stefanik said at the time, his decision to put COVID-positive patients in nursing homes amongst our most vulnerable that led to countless deaths should disqualify him. And then the subsequent cover-up and lying about it should disqualify him from any elected office ever again. But instead, in typical Andrew Cuomo form, he is now campaigning on COVID. He has a 6-figure ad buy, and it's a 30-second ad titled Crisis, which emphasizes his, and they use this term, I'm going to put it in quotes, leadership during the pandemic. Quote, it was the greatest health crisis in our history. And when New Yorkers were desperate for leadership, Andrew Cuomo delivered. He didn't just provide information in those daily COVID briefings. He acted, building emergency hospitals and deploying first responders. Now we know he used when tests were so sparse and rare, he let his family jump to the head of the line. We know he threatened to take away respirators from upstate New York to put them down in the city. And of course, what I would argue is one of the worst decisions, if not the worst decision, in all of the COVID pandemic. One of the most tragic, disastrous decisions made by Governor Cuomo, then Governor Cuomo at the time, which was to put COVID-positive patients into nursing homes, demanding that COVID-positive patients be placed in nursing homes amongst our most vulnerable that led to so many deaths. But instead, as Cuomo has covered this up, has lied about it, was arrogant about it, has never apologized to the families who lost loved ones because of that decision. Elise Stefanik said at the time at that committee or that hearing in Congress that he should never be able to hold elected office again. I would agree. Now we know that his time during COVID was also when he got that $5 million book deal that he basically had his staff write, which was illegal. So the list goes on, and I don't want to go into all of this and read what the ad said. I just know that many of you are going to be outraged because of it, and rightfully so, myself included. I saw that this morning and it made my blood boil. That former governor, disgraced former governor Andrew Cuomo, is campaigning for mayor on what he sees as his success during COVID. Think about that for a while. Okay, we're going to take a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking, wrapping up our number one. Stay with us.
If you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
Gardens and landscaping will help you grow a green thumb.
Anyone, anywhere can record crimes as they happen, and we're going to watch them right here.
He just took his car.
With cameras everywhere, you can run, but you can't hide. Watch iCrime.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Let's go to some viewer comments as we wrap up our number one here. Comment from a viewer: I'm from Horseheads. I'm voting no for purchasing new buses. Not convinced the school board knows enough about buses in general and are doing what they're being told to do by a higher entity. Thank you. In reference to the inflation rebate checks, this viewer writes, if Elise Stefanik announces I can donate my refund check to her campaign, that is a very brilliant way of spending that money, taking your tax dollars and using it for something that you believe in. That's a really good thought and kind of a way that could backfire on Governor Hochul. So I appreciate that. Rick writes in, Subaru prices going up to $750 to $2,000 per vehicle. Bond yields going up. Trump added $8+ trillion to the national debt in his first term. Biden added half that at $4.7 trillion. So why is Biden blamed for the state of the economy 5 months into Trump's second term? Own it. So 5 months is all. So you're fine with just 5 months. Trump should have completely turned around Biden's economy. And you also, I think it goes without saying, when you reference the amount being spent during the Trump administration, I think we're all well aware that that was high cost of the COVID pandemic, but we'll continue. The great big beautiful bill will add $3 to $5 trillion more to the deficit. It will pass in the House this week due to threats by Donald. He's going to the Hill tomorrow. He shouldn't be allowed there. Pass it or you're fired. And the $1 trillion question, why does the U.S. spend more money than we take in? Can't run a business or household like that. Imports down, 25% fewer shipments, and L.A., biggest port in the States. Doesn't look like Trump's phone call with his brother Vladimir Putin went well. Putin wants it all and isn't going to stop till he gets it. Trump had trouble sleeping the other night and wondered what it cost Kamala to pay off Springsteen, Bono, Oprah, Swift for the election support. I don't know. I'm more interested in what he owes his billionaire buddies for their support, or the Qatar 747 gift also. Kamala's support was more a dislike of Trump and the type of person he is, and her strength in every level of government she served in. Boy, oh boy, the big man had a big day. My head is spinning, but the icing on the cake for the day was his heartless insinuation that the Biden should have announced Joe's prostate diagnosis quite some time ago. Never ends. Oh, and vote no on the Corning Painting Post school budget. Salary greed. Politics makes strange bedfellows. Thank you, Rick. Don't agree with much of what you said. I'm happy to read it. But then you and I agree right there at the end. Bring it all full circle. Bring it right back around, and I agree with you. All right, we're going to read some more comments when we come in. I didn't intentionally skip anybody. We'll read them at the top of the hour. I just see that I have to take a break and wrap up our number one. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
When you're online, don't forget visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Get yours at Current Power Sports in Pine City, New York and Wellsboro, Pennsylvania.
When you think swimming pools, think Hesselson's. Hesselson's offers expert advice, professional service, and a complete line of chemicals and accessories. Replacement liners, motors and pumps, automatic vacuums, skimmers, ladders, steps, and more. Hesselson's has it all. Do you have a chemical question? Come in for Hesselson's free computerized water analysis and the widest selection of chlorine and specialty chemicals. With Hesselson's help, you can clean up any pool problem and swim in sparkling clean water. Let Hesselson's show you how easy it can be to take care of your swimming pool. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
It's the 25 Cardboard Boat Regatta. Hope that boat is sturdy for the big day, June 14, 2025.
Catch Twins local news and weather by visiting WYDCTV.com. We've got daily and weekly weather forecast, question of the day.
The Frankly Speak. Well, the roof cam's not up there anymore. Welcome to hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking. That's a habit. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We're broadcasting from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. A lot of comments coming in, reading those here in just a second. As I mentioned, today is the school budget vote and vote for some members of the school board, etc. Don't forget, the vote kicks off at 11 a.m., runs till 8 p.m., at least in Corning Painted Post. I believe that's the case most places. So far, the overwhelming viewer comment poll, if you will, has been a vote no, but I would love to hear from everyone on that. Let's go to some viewer comments. Mark writes in, are you kidding me? Cuomo doing an ad on COVID after killing people? It's like throwing gas on a fire. He is totally out of whack. Well, it is Politico. Politico is reporting that he did quite a large ad buy for a 30-second ad titled Crisis, which emphasizes his, quote, leadership during the pandemic. Now, we know he will not reference in that video the decision, the disastrous, tragic, outrageous, I can't use the words I'd like to use on the air, decision to put COVID-positive patients in nursing homes that led to the death of so many, led to families that weren't able to see their parents, grandparents, or whoever, their family member, as they passed. It's to think, and that's such typical. I mean, he's covered up from the beginning of what happened with his decision. He has never apologized to the families that lost loved ones, and now he has the audacity to run his mayoral campaign on what he deems his COVID success. Talk about insult to injury to those families that lost so much. Comment from a different viewer. And I didn't think I could get more outraged about Cuomo. I had not heard that's what he is campaigning on. How arrogant, great word, and unbelievably callous, another great term to describe it. This is unconscionable. What a disgrace. I couldn't agree more. And then a comment from a different viewer. So give us a check and then raise our taxes. Yes, that's welcome to New York. but it'll be nice because I'll have Hochul's name all over it, and maybe you'll switch your vote. Now, Rick had commented at the end of the last hour talking about what Trump had said about Biden's diagnosis of prostate cancer. Now, of course, he did send his thoughts and prayers originally. Later in the day, he said, I'm surprised the public wasn't notified a long time ago. This is what he told reporters in the Oval Office. To get to stage 9, that's a long time. Trump also said Biden's cancer scoring a 9 on the Gleason scale, which indicates a high-grade cancer that can spread quickly. Trump noted that had undergone a full physical at Walter Reed Military Medical Center last month and claimed that a prostate exam is standard for pretty much anyone getting a good physical. So Trump noted this is not worded right. There's a couple of typos in here, but noted that he had undergone a full physical exam. When you take a test as male, the test is very standard. This is dangerous for our country, Trump added, noting that Biden contributed to the mess the country is in now. He called the diagnosis very, very sad, but pointed out there were also doctors, including former White House physician Kevin O'Connor, who had claimed Biden was in top mental shape for years as well. But he is not the only person that has questioned the timing of this announcement, questioned if this is not part of a larger cover-up, as with the mental acuity. People are even highlighting the fact that back in 2022, they said it was a slip-up, but back in 2022, giving a public speech, Biden may have signaled, without us knowing, the prostate cancer diagnosis. His alarming comment came, again, back in 2022 during a speech about emissions from oil refineries near his childhood home. He said, "That's why I and so darn many other people I grew up with have cancer, and why for the longest time Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation." Biden's use of the present tense have raised eyebrows at the time, but former White House spokesperson Andrew Bates referred the post to Washington Post fact-check honcho Glenn Kessler, who suggested it was reference to non-melanoma skin cancers. So that's what... this is just drawing new scrutiny. They're saying... I was also kind of surprised that they said that the last full checkup he had was February of 2024 as president. You would have thought there may be more. Several doctors have said it's inconceivable that Biden's aggressive form of prostate cancer went undetected by his medical team, as first son Don Jr. even questioned whether the health diagnosis was part of a cover-up. Some have suggested it's a cover-up. Some have suggested it's I think it was Miranda Devine who said yesterday, a way to garner sympathy, so not to reference that new book that is coming out by Jake Tapper. Now we know everything about the diagnosis at this point. But a handful of medical experts were quick to question how the former president could be diagnosed at such a late stage, especially given prostate cancer can be detected early with routine blood work, which is recommended for men over the age of 50. Dr. Howard Foreman said it is inconceivable that this was not being followed before he left the presidency. Gleason grade 9 would have had an elevated PSA level for some time before this diagnosis, and he must have had a PSA test numerous times before. This is odd. I wish him well and hope he has an opportunity for maximizing his quality of life. Dr. Stephen Quay had similar concerns, saying Biden's type of cancer is the easiest to diagnose when it first starts and progresses. The PSA blood test shows the rate of cancer cell growth. For even with the most aggressive form, it is a 5 to 7 year journey without treatment before it becomes metastatic, maybe. Meaning it would be malpractice for this patient to show up and be first diagnosed in May of 2025. It's highly unlikely he was carrying a diagnosis of prostate cancer throughout his White House tenure, and the American people were uninformed. It was highly likely he was carrying a diagnosis of prostate cancer throughout the White House tenure, and the American people were uninformed. So they interviewed some others, but a doctor who actually worked with Joe Biden is shocked over this diagnosis and claims the former president may have had that disease for a decade. Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel, a former member of Biden's transition team who helped craft the Obama-era Affordable Care Act. You remember that name? Ezekiel Emanuel? Emanuel said he's had this for many years, maybe even a decade, growing there and spreading. This was on Morning Joe. It's a little surprising. I look back at the records and there's no evidence that when he got his health status and the medical records were released that he had a prostate-specific antigen. Emanuel insisted the 82-year-old would have definitely had the disease even before he was elected to the White House. He did not develop this in the last 100 to 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, I don't think there's any disagreement about that. Emanuel noted that some doctors recommend not being a prostate-specific antigen, a routine blood work test. He was vice president and had a lot of exams under 70. So it's a little surprising that they didn't do it. And maybe President Biden decided he didn't want the test. Many men do decide they don't want a PSA, but this is also aggressive. When we talk about the aggressive part, what we mean is a Gleason score. That score is from 2 up to 10, and he's at a 9. And that means that the cancer doesn't look normal. It looks very abnormal, which is probably why it's in the bone. I don't know what President Biden and his doctors discussed, but I think you are hinting at the other element, which is that President Obama had this test, President Bush had this test. It's a little surprising that the doctors didn't take it. And if he took it and didn't report it and it was elevated, that is another case of doctors not being straightforward with us. We've had several of them with President Trump, especially around his COVID diagnosis. And if that is true, that would be very troubling. Oh, that's where it was. I got my articles out of order. Okay, I do have something else that we'll get to a little bit later on. How am I doing on time? A couple of stunned long-time aides to former President Biden told the New York Post yesterday that his stage 4 prostate cancer should have been caught long before it spread to his bones, and they fear concern about public reaction because of the delayed announcement. And that's what Trump was referring to. We also know that it's the timing. Even some on the left are questioning the timing on this. Brian Stetler raising some red flags of why this would happen to be announced right before the Jake Tapper book is to be released. So we'll tell you what the ex-Biden staffers had to say here in just a moment, because I do have to take a break. Then some other talking heads. We're not going to focus too much on this, but there is a little more that we have to discuss. And then some things about Trump and whatever else you would like. Please weigh in. What do you think about the school budget vote? So far, it seems to be overwhelmingly no from viewers. But if you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear from you. The vote is today from 11 to 8. We'll have the full results for you tomorrow on the broadcast. Also on tomorrow's broadcast, we'll be talking with Michael Volino. He's running for Steuben County Legislature in District 9. That is Cameron, Canisteo, and Thurston. Then on Thursday, we're going to have Sheriff Jim Allard, Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard. He's going to join us on Thursday. Then on Friday, none other than former Congressman, current Assemblyman, Joe Sempolinski. So get your questions in for any of those guests, because they're all going to be great. And I'm going to need your help with great questions. All right, stay with us. We got to take a short break. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, your comments when we come back.
Attention, Elmeron may lead to vision loss.
If you have suffered vision problems after taking Elmeron to treat bladder pain, call the Hearn Law Firm. Elmeron may be responsible for your vision problems, and you may deserve compensation for your injuries.
If you took Elmeron and now have vision problems, call the Hearn Law Firm at 888-308-3866 right now. You could find out if you qualify in less than 2 minutes. Call 888-308-3866 for your free case review.
When you're on, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Scamming seniors is a huge problem today. Worldwide, seniors lost $4.8 billion to scammers in 2024. The Steuben County Office for the Aging is here to help. Come to our seminar recognizing and avoiding financial scams and identifying elder abuse. Monday, June 9th at the Corning Senior Center in Corning, New York from 1:30 to 4 p.m. Learn how to identify scams, how to protect yourself, and learn fraud watch tips. Come to the Corning Senior Center in Corning, New York from 1:30 to 4 p.m. on June 9th. Learn more. Go to SteubenCountyNY.gov/235.
Shell Missy face off in
Why can't we watch DuckTales? Because we don't learn anything.
Book Smarts versus Street Smarts.
Is it working? Are you feeling motivated? Very.
It's the battle of twins.
Life is so confusing. I always hoped it would be easier for me when I grew up. It's gonna be all right. You were faking. Bazinga.
Young Sheldon. Weeknights at 6:30 on
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. Comments from a viewer. Ken writes in, New York's Democrat supermajority is probably hard at work trying to see how they can get their share of the New York State tax rebate money. If anyone does get a check and they can afford to donate it, they should donate it to the New York State Republican Party to support a Republican for governor and any Republican candidates in districts that typically go Democrat. That could help stop another Democrat super majority. Thank you, Ken. That's a good point. Right now, of course, it's one-party rule in Albany, so it would be very nice to have the money go to a change in Albany. Okay, back to the president. The former president, excuse me, the stunned longtime aides to former President Joe Biden told the Post Monday that this stage 4 prostate cancer should have been caught long before it spread to his bones, and they fear concern about public reaction delayed a possible diagnosis. Quote, I do believe that they felt like something was going on and were worried about it and kind of hedged around it for a little bit, said one White House staffer who worked in close proximity to Biden. Unlike the apparently concerted cover-up of Biden's declining mental fitness, the sources suspect willful ignorance of his condition out of fear of the effect that a prognosis would have on last year's election, in which Biden repeatedly refused to bow out to allow Democrats an open contest for his successor. So some are calling it, even some of his former aides are calling it a part of this larger, if you will, cover-up. The former president's office said Sunday that he had been diagnosed 2 days earlier after reporting increasing urinary symptoms. I just don't know how they just kind of find this out on Friday, and it's this far advanced and serious, said a Biden White House aide. If it's in his bones, there's got to be a discomfort. I think they just didn't test. Maybe there's an issue there of not testing. Maybe it's an issue of the overall when there was concerns about his mental health. They're concerned if this gets out, much like what we learned about in that new Jake Tapper book, that if he were to win a second term, there was people, but not before, people were discussing, which would also kind of tie in with this cancer in the bones, that he may start using a wheelchair in the second term. That's a part of, if you believe Jake Tapper's book, that's a part of his reporting. And there's other anonymous aides that weighed in on it, but they're calling it another cover-up, that the people around Biden didn't want this known, just like they didn't want people to know that they may use a wheelchair if he won a second term. Now, Jim Jordan, Representative Jim Jordan from Ohio, was on Fox News Channel yesterday. Now, he's the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. He argued Americans should not be surprised by former President Joe Biden's advanced cancer diagnosis, given the left's track record over the past several years. Frankly, the thing I take away from all of this is we shouldn't be surprised. Remember, the left has lied to us about everything. They lied to us about Benghazi. They lied to us about Russian collusion. They lied to us about parents and school board meetings. They lied to us about pro-life Catholics. They lied to us about COVID. They lied to us about the Hunter Biden laptop. We shouldn't be surprised that they were lying to us about the mental state of the commander-in-chief, but as you rightly pointed out, when you have that situation, bad things happen, and maybe they happen because of that. We will probably never know for sure, but it certainly makes you wonder. So that's specifically about the mental health cover-up, and then you have others that are tying that into this diagnosis. TV host Rob Schmidt reacted to the cancer diagnosis, saying, now we've heard the tapes, right? That's the her tapes that were released the other day. And we see the reality that we have a president so mentally diminished that he could really only handle a controlled environment. No cards with people's names on it, the names of people he's allowed to call on, scripted questions. He would have the question that was coming written on the card that he had, the president of the United States. Dealing with that was supposed to be a fair and open media. First Amendment, yeah, right. That's the legacy of the Biden presidency. Elder abuse by a power-hungry Democrat deep state. It's no surprise that the administration was so desperate to keep these tapes private, and perhaps his cancer as well. And then they ran Joe Biden for re-election. It is difficult to overstate how insane that is. And they try to keep him there for 4 more years. He would be in the infancy of his second term right now. Think of the people who are running that White House and how incredible it was for them to have never run for elected office once in their life, to have a decaying puppet that they could manipulate. Imagine the unelected power that they were able to feel because they were there to prop up Joe Biden, pushing him into the White House, pushing their own radical agenda on a clueless, elderly Trojan horse. CNN, on the other side of that coin, as we talk about outlets, CNN's Brian Stetler has questioned the timing of this diagnosis. We're going to talk about that when we come back. And there's quite a few opinion pieces, and we'll more or less read the headlines to get your thoughts on it. But I would like to know your thoughts on the Corning Painting Post school, or any school budget. We had some people write in from Horseheads. Any of the school budgets that are up for vote today, we'd like to hear your thoughts on that, which direction you're headed, or if you'd like to make one last push to voters on your thoughts on it. Because that's obviously a major story. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Also on New York State issues, we did talk about, unfortunately, political reporting that Andrew Cuomo believes a successful path to victory for mayor is him touting his record during COVID. Now, he must be banking on hoping that people only remember his daily press conferences, that because New York City is a major media hub, of course, the media hub, that he got a lot more coverage of it than was typical of other governors. So maybe he's hoping that's all that the voters remember, and don't remember his disastrous, tragic decision to put COVID-positive patients into nursing homes, leading to the deaths of countless nursing home residents, the most vulnerable, and how many families that affected by not being able to see their loved ones before they passed. All right, stay with us. We got to take a short break. More on Joe Biden when we come back. And your comments, all that, and much more. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
This is Summer with Nissan. It's a great time to buy at the Nissan Summer Sales Event, featuring the award-winning Rogue and Pathfinder. Now more affordable. Get the #1 shopping experience according to J.D. Power. Hurry to a Nissan dealer today.
Now get a low $249 per month lease on Rogue, or get a low $339 per month lease on Pathfinder.
It's the 25th Waterfront Festival and Cardboard Boat Regatta, a day full of fun for all ages. Register at watkinsglen.com/waterfront festival. Hope that boat is sturdy for the big day, June 14th.
Something with a diamond in it.
Diamondback rattlesnake.
It's in the name. Name a low-calorie food you might make your edible underwear out of.
Salmon.
Watch it weeknights. Share it the next day.
Wild caught Norwegian teriyaki.
Share in the fun. Weeknights on Family Feud.
7 and 7:30 on Big Fox.
Big Fox 10 p.m. News is the first primetime local news for the Twin Tiers. Our reporters, Haley and Dante, scour the southern tier to bring you up-to-date news regarding local businesses, economics, and how national decisions impact our area. If you're not near a TV, don't worry. You can also catch our 10 p.m. news live on WYDCTV.com/livestream. Don't miss Big Fox 10 p.m. News on WYDC, on TV, or our website.
Catch Twins local news and weather by visiting WYDCTV.com. We've got daily and weekly weather forecast, question of the day, things to do, and more. WYDCTV.com.
Thank you to Boss Security in Horseheads for bringing us that beautiful view of historic Market Street in the Gafford District. Contact Boss Security in Horseheads for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. So Brian Stetler has questioned the timing of the cancer diagnosis announcement, insisting Sunday that it was extraordinary. The news broke just as the former president was battling an onslaught of criticism over the cover-up of his cognitive decline. The timing is just extraordinary, Stetler said. We know from the statement from his personal spokesman that Biden learned of the diagnosis Friday. Well, what was the biggest Biden story on Friday? It was the release of those audio excerpts from his conversation with former special counsel Robert Hur back in 2023. And we know what that uncovered. Now, the Biden administration, well, we don't have to go through all that. Stetler added, on the day that story was breaking, Biden was facing this personal news. So you have that as one element of the timing here. And you have the book coming out, one of the biggest political books in several years. And that's in reference to the book Original Sin by Jake Tapper and Axios reporter Alex Thompson, which is doing everything it can to cover up the media's role in this and their responsibility. But the news of Biden's cancer diagnosis has prompted some top Democrats to call for conversations about the former president's cognitive abilities to cease, saying, hey, now that we know this diagnosis, let's not talk about his cognitive decline any longer. Let's not really respond to what we learn in that book. Longtime Democrat strategist David Axelrod said that such conversations should be more muted and set aside for now as he struggles through this. Earlier in the day Sunday, Axelrod had participated in a panel that ripped into Democrats for their handling of his decline. Stetler's questioning about the timing comes as medical experts say it's inconceivable that the cancer was not caught earlier. Don Jr. suggested it's part of a bigger cover-up. Mark Siegel writes, Biden's team hid so much. How can we believe them about the cancer timeline? Should the American public automatically believe that former President Biden did not know until now that he has a life-threatening, aggressive cancer? No, especially since the Biden White House and medical team were hiding his cognitive decline, obscuring it in glowing physical reports throughout his term until it became painfully apparent during his debate against President Trump and on the just-released tapes with special counsel Robert Hur. We've been given no reason to believe many things about Biden's health. Prostate cancer does not occur overnight, has been the common theme for many of these pieces, these op-eds that we have. And I'm not going to get into all the tests that you take and what would be standard operating practice. By the way, Mark Siegel is an MD. I should have mentioned that. It's worth considering that it's possible he could have undergone initial treatments and is now facing a treatment failure necessitating systemic therapy. If this is true, it would be a public service to admit it in the name of increasing prostate cancer awareness, where early detection is key to an effective response. Either way, Biden's advanced prostate cancer is a wake-up call for early cancer screening, no matter what the patient's age. The health of the U.S. president has traditionally been shrouded in secrecy, from Woodrow Wilson's Spanish flu and stroke to FDR's heart failure to Eisenhower's heart attacks. We need more transparency, not less. President Biden is a tough fighter. He's already lost his son, Beau, to cancer, and we wish him well in his own cancer fight for his life. But questioning when Biden and his team knew when he had cancer is not in bad taste, nor unwarranted. Americans should know what challenges a president faces. It's become increasingly clear Biden and his team hid many, if not all of them. Cal Thomas. I haven't heard from Cal Thomas in quite some time. That's not to suggest. I thought he was retired. But I saw his name pass through the talking points, the op-eds regarding Biden. And he says the massive cover-up of Joe Biden's mental and physical decline, which is only now being revealed by certain media types who were part of it, reminds me of a similar event more than a century ago. Woodrow Wilson suffered a stroke on October 2nd, 1919, leaving him barely able to work. First Lady Edith Wilson moved quickly to shield her husband's condition from the press and from the public. Historians say she took on so many of his responsibilities that she functioned like a president. Edith Wilson went so far in her scheming that she covered Wilson's left side with a blanket to hide his paralysis. Even Wilson's doctor was part of the cover-up. As described in the book Untold Power, Members of Congress were frustrated when they were prevented from seeing the president. A Senate delegation was assembled, and a top White House aide was informed they were coming to the White House to see Wilson that very day. Edith and some of Wilson's staff staged a dress rehearsal before the meeting that they had hoped would allow the president to seem articulate and engaged. There was even talks of propping him up in a beach chair, but they settled on elevating him in bed. The publicist for the Democrat Party was brought in to help stage the charade. Fortunately for the conspirators, Wilson was having one of his good days when the senators arrived. He engaged with the visitors, even indulging in humor. When one of them said, "We have been praying for you, Mr. President," Wilson replied, "Which way?" Edith Wilson, in essence, if not in fact, became the first female president of the United States. She controlled access to her incapacitated husband, made decisions on matters of state, and essentially ran the executive branch for almost 2 years. If this all sounds familiar in a modern context, it should, with a few changes. It resembles the script used for the cover-up of Joe Biden's mental and physical decline, the conspiracy by some of his top staff members who helped orchestrate it, and denial by the helpful media that there was nothing seriously wrong with the president. We've talked about this. That's why Jake Tapper, in my opinion, wrote this book, was to cover for the media. And this, again, is Cal Thomas, if you're just joining us. Democrats now realize they are caught in a trap of their own making. So the response is to tell reporters they don't want to talk about the past, but move on. And that was a talking point starting about 2 weeks ago. We want to move on, whether it's Schumer saying we want to move on and talk about Medicaid, whatever the case may be. The House Oversight Committee has announced it will hold hearings on the suspected cover-up. Co-conspirators must be called to testify about what they knew, when they knew it, and why they lied. This should include former First Lady Jill Biden, who could be called the Edith Wilson of our time. Under oath, they will be required to tell the truth or suffer the penalties that go with perjury. Why the 25th Amendment wasn't employed to remove Biden from office might be one of the questions asked. The public deserves to hear the truth, not just read books from some of those in the media who were part of the cover-up and who are now trying to wash the stain of deceit, from what reputations they have left. And I thought that was a great point by Cal Thomas. We know they've lost credibility. They're trying to save whatever face that they can for their lack of coverage of this for 4 years. And the Post editorial board, before we get ready to take a break here, and again, please weigh in on your thoughts on the school budget vote, which is today, 11 to 2. But the Post editorial board says, we'll offer prayers for Joe Biden, but still view the cancer news in the context of the preceding years of lies about the then president's health. The announcement puzzles doctors left and right who don't know how it could be possible that this comes as a surprise, when any halfway competent MD would have spotted it years ago. Joe is a private citizen now, with no need or duty to keep the public informed on these things. Yet his family decided to announce his dire condition 2 days after the Robert Hur tapes finally were leaked. And as Original Sin, a deep dive into the cover-up, got released. This sure looks like an effort to render discussions of that cover-up more muted. Even David Axelrod, as I mentioned earlier, arguing that maybe we shouldn't be talking about the mental decline anymore because of this diagnosis. So the timing, to Brian Stetler's point, is pretty remarkable. Yet it shouldn't in the least stop the conversation, because settling accounts and learning lessons from this sad tale isn't directly about Joe Biden at all. It's about, one, his inner circle, who strove to keep his decline as secret as possible, even within the White House, and kind of sort of got away with it. Because two, the entire leadership of the Democrat Party, in office and out, played along, as did most of the media. That is a huge chunk of the nation's supposed elite convinced themselves that lying to each other about the president's incapacity was the way to go. Even though the public as a whole, on the basis of what it could see, had grown convinced he was too old for the job by the end of 2021. In April of 2022, Carol Markowitz was calling out the emperor's lack of clothes in the New York Post with lines like, "He seems fully out of it and we're all watching quietly," and who is really running the White House. There's other headlines that he gives from the Post. It was a year and a half later that special counsel Robert Hur interviewed Biden and concluded that while Joe had broken the law, no jury would likely convict him because he'd come off as a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. And the tapes show Hur was being extremely kind to Joe at the time. Even though Dems ripped him at the time as a liar, conducting a partisan hit, they really attacked Hur's credibility. The denial kept up in full gear. through the deep fakes absurdities all the way until the first debate made it impossible to keep pretending. This week, Original Sin was set to rip the mask off the entire sordid tale. If even co-author Jake Tapper was long a prime enabler of the lies and is revealing it all to personal profit and prestige only now, when there's no point left to defend Biden. At some point, Congress needs to take a nonpartisan look at the failure to invoke the 25th Amendment, while Democrats must consider how their leaders' clumsy efforts to deceive the American people all but guaranteed a second Trump term. Our colleagues in the press, however, have to own up to being fools when they betrayed their fundamental journalistic duties by not just missing the story, but slamming those of us who kept telling it straight. We're going to talk a little bit about the book when we come back. Got to take a short break. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
If you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
When it comes to best subs, wings, strombolis, and calzones, nobody does it better than Picnic Pizza. Picnic Pizza has been serving the Twin Tiers for over 40 years. With 2 convenient locations to serve you, Horseheads and Big Flats, you can dine in, carry out, or we'll deliver in a 5-mile radius. We offer everyday in-house specials like a family pack, 1 large pizza, 1 dozen wings, and 1 quart of soda. Having a party? How about a party pack? 1 sheet pizza, 2 dozen wings, and 2 quarts of soda. Picnic Pizza, the best darn pizza in the area.
Visit GCP and go sailing with the Captain. 1.75-liter Captain Morgan spiced rum in glass or plastic bottle is on sale for $27.99 a bottle all month long. Save more with a mail-in rebate of $3 off 1 bottle or $15 off 3. Babbage Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand is on sale for $10.99 a bottle. A mail-in rebate saves you even more. $3 off 1 bottle or $24 off 6. GCP Discount Liquors and Wines and Horseheads. The best in service, selection, and price.
Imagine a world where all of your health information is effortlessly organized in one place. With MyChart, accessing your information is simpler than ever. Every detail of your health is at your fingertips, from medications to test results. Communicating with your providers has never been easier. Take control of your health journey with MyChart and carry your records wherever you go. Visit centralishealth.org/MyChart.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Market Street in Corning. A couple comments from viewers. One thing I want to clear up, I'm not going to read the one statement. It's a great statement, but I should have been maybe a little more clear. Cuomo, former governor, disgraced governor Andrew Cuomo, isn't running again for governor. He's running for mayor of New York City. That's not to say, to your point here, and I'm not going to read the comment, but to your point, that could be because there is a kind of a small governor wannabe pool, this person said. That could be in the future. He's trying to, what's the term I'm looking for, kind of save his reputation, try to make a comeback, if you will. So I don't see him just stopping at New York City mayor. I don't. So I think you raised that point, but that's not yet. Now, there are a few that could be looking to primary Governor Hochul, one being Richie Torres, a Democrat, Richie Torres, looking to primary perhaps Governor Hochul. And, of course, we do have Republican candidates. That's kind of up in the air right now. People waiting to see what Elise Stefanik's decision is. But whoever it's going to be, I hope that the announcement is made very soon, very, very soon. So, no, he is running for mayor. So I'm glad that you let me clarify that. Mark writes in, I see you didn't park under the flower pot on the pole today. Yes, that has nothing to do with the great workers in Corning. That spot was taken this morning. I forgot about that. Yes, everything was fine. Everything hunky-dory. Car was just fine. No problems. All right, Jake Tapper doing an interview on NPR to promote his book, Original Sin. He stated, this is on Monday, quote, we had all seen evidence of decline from President Joe Biden, but his team told everyone he was fine. and I wish I had been more aggressive, Jake Tapper said. See, they're trying to rewrite history. Let me ask, if I don't, doesn't matter what the issue is, health, it doesn't matter. If Jake Tapper said, you know, I think Trump did this, whatever it is, and Trump's people came to Jake Tapper and said, no, he didn't. Nope. Do you think Jake might dig a little bit deeper? Do you think he might actually be a reporter for once? Or is he just going to take the Trump spokespeople's words as gospel? Because isn't that what he's admitting he did with Biden? Right? We had all seen evidence of decline from President Joe Biden, but his team told everyone he was fine. So again, his team had to be trusted like the gospel. Does Trump's team get afforded that same type of believability? It would be my question for Jake Tapper. He stated during the debate, while communicating with the people in the control room, I wrote, holy smokes, like during that first rambling, awful non-answer where he said we finally beat Medicare. I just couldn't believe it. Look, we had all seen him aging. We had all seen him tripping and misspeaking. We had all seen evidence of decline. But the Biden team, family, and senior advisors were telling everybody, not just the media, not just the public, but also Democrat donors and members of Congress, their own cabinet, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. So Jake Tapper, again, if it's a Democrat president, you accept the words of the people that surround him as gospel truth. I do not believe that same belief is afforded Republican candidates and Republican presidents or any Republican politician. So what he just admitted in trying to rewrite this history of bias is he admitted bias. This book, though it does sound very interesting, I'm sure we will learn a lot about a man who is no longer necessary to the people in the media, no longer necessary to the Democrat Party. So now is when all the information comes out, not when he's actually president of the United States. But Jake Tapper's main role in this is throw Biden under the bus because they don't need him anymore, and in doing so, protect the media. Suggest it wasn't the media's fault. But think of that argument. The argument is because Biden's team told us so that he was fine is good enough for Jake Tapper. Again, the question I ask, would that be the case for any Republican president, specifically Trump? If his team tells you something, do the Jake Tappers of the world trust it as the 100% truth, or do they do some digging? Now, Axios national political correspondent and co-author of the book with Jake Tapper, Alex Thompson, talked about there being a functioning and non-functioning Biden. And Tapper said that during the debate, we saw a non-functioning Biden. I cannot articulate a sentence Biden beyond the normal mental lapses people have and the people who are aging have. Tapper also stated, Alex and I covered this. Alex very aggressively from the White House beat, me less so. And I wish I'd been more aggressive. There's a lot of regret. There's a lot of humility. No, there isn't. You're profiting off of it with this book. We're supposed to all of a sudden buy into your humility when you're just profiting off this book and writing a book that saves face for you and your friends in the media, or attempts to save face. I don't think that part of it works, to be honest. But again, it's also not fair to say you started reporting on it after the debate, because that was too late. That's when it was there for the world to see, that they could no longer cover it up. The media could no longer cover it up. So yes, of course you put blame on his family and you put blame on the people that surround him, but you also have to put just as much blame on the media. Joe Biden's granddaughter, Naomi, I believe this is one that he recognizes as his granddaughter, slammed the new book. Naomi Biden, the 31-year-old daughter of Hunter, went on a tirade against the CNN anchor and his co-author, Alex Thompson, a day after it was revealed the ex-president is suffering from prostate cancer. And that's why some believe the timing of that announcement was strange. Just read a copy of this silly book. And if anyone is curious for a review from someone who lived it firsthand, this book is a political fairy tale smut for the permanent professional chattering class, the ones who rarely enter the arena but profit from the spectacle of those that do. Well, I'm not going to say that I think it's wrong how Jake Tapper never reported on this, and now he's trying to make a lot of money off of this and will make a lot of money off of that. So I can understand why you would have concerns over that. I think it is pretty morally questionable, but I mean, in Jake Tapper's, I guess, whatever you think morally defense, he gets to cover up and rewrite history, so it makes him look better, and he makes money off of it. She accused Tapper and Thompson of being irresponsible, self-promoting journalists out to make a quick buck, and called their work a bunch of unoriginal, uninspired lies. Interesting. She said, all of this at the expense of a man so completely good and honest that it is impossible for these people to ever understand the why or how of it all. There are real stories to be told, and one day they will be. I suspect history will reward the truth. All right. Oh, by the way, this is the story that I talked about at the top of the hour. Then we're going to talk a little bit more about Democrats, and we got a little bit more on the Trump administration. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen recently claimed that widely criticized negotiations with Qatar over a $400 million Air Force One temporary replacement gift began under the Biden administration, not after Trump took office. What no one is talking about is that the same 747 had been in negotiations for a year, Mullen said on CNN. The Biden administration is the one that started these conversations. It didn't start underneath the Trump administration. Why? Because we need a backup for Air Force One. Mullen said there's no current backup plane for Air Force One, which is about 40 years old. The fact is, the conversation started with Qatar with Biden a year ago. Mullen had been privy to a recent conversation with the Qataris when the information about the Biden administration's reported role was gleaned. Mullen said he would give the media a pass for not knowing about the reported Biden-era negotiations. Interesting. If this is the case, then we have not heard about this. This is not getting the attention and the coverage that it should. Very interesting. All right. That's a big story. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, stay with us.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Scamming seniors is a huge problem today. Worldwide, seniors lost $4.8 billion to scammers in 2024. The Steuben County Office for the Aging is here to help. Come to our seminar, Recognizing and Avoiding Financial Scams, Wednesday, June 4th at the Main Place in Hornell, New York, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Learn how to identify scams, how to protect yourself, and fraud watch tips. Also, the Steuben County Office for the Aging will provide tips on emergency preparedness, June 4th at 12 p.m. To learn more, go to steubencountiny.gov/235.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. And how can we help like that in our small businesses, not to sound cliche, but are the backbone of our community? Let's talk about thanks, as always, to you, the viewers, for sending in your texts and your voicemails. Now we go to a comment. This is from John in Elmira. Make sure to catch Frankly Speaking only on AM Big Fox News WYDC. Or visit our website at WYDC. The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Market Street in Corning. We've been talking about all the names that are being thrown around running for president on the Democrat ticket for 2028. It's just about every name that you are aware of, or maybe even not that aware of. This is a new one since we just brought up former Governor Cuomo and his run for mayor. Democrats are addicted to nominating senators. Prepare for a 2028 pileup, writes Burgess Everett and David Weigel. One of the names being thrown around as potential presidential candidates, none other than Kirsten Gillibrand, our senator. I'd like to see that. Because when she has had to debate a Republican opponent, she does very poorly, but it gets very little coverage. It's normally one debate and done. I don't think anybody, but perhaps the Gillibrand family, really considering her as a potential 2028 nominee. But Hillary Clinton frets that a female Republican president could win, that could happen someday, and it would be she would be a handmaiden to the patriarchy. Such cliche terms. These are the terms that people, I don't want to name any names, but some of these the Democrat talking heads are saying these are the words we have to get away from. This is what loses us elections, fighting the oligarchy, handmaiden to the patriarchy. Well, first of all, this is what the question was. Clinton argued that with few exceptions, female Republicans tend to undermine feminist ideals while reflecting on the advice she'd given to women seeking the presidency. Well, first of all, don't be a handmaiden to the patriarchy, which kind of eliminates every woman on the other side of the aisle except for very few. So pretty much all Republicans are just disqualified right there. This is, I'm telling you, this is not a good look. They do this with this kind of woke politics, and it doesn't work when they've done it to gender, race, where she gets to define who is a good woman to run for president. Examples of Republican women who aren't handmaidens to the patriarchy include Senator Elizabeth Murkowski, who always votes against Republicans, and former Representative Liz Cheney. So those are the two, huh? Why? Because they're more in line with your beliefs. There's a few, she said. Anyway, I just had to mention that since we're talking about presidential politics. Now, more Americans, according to a new poll, say the country is on the right track after the tariffs have been rolled back. Americans are more optimistic about the direction of the country and believe the economy has been stronger since President Trump eased his sweeping tariff policy, which most voters see as the biggest failure of his second term. A Harvard Caps Harris poll released Monday found 42% of respondents believe the country is on the right track, an increase of 3 percentage points from last month. Over half of the voters also rated the U.S. economy as being strong, up 5 points from April. The uptick in optimism coincides with the successful trade talks with the United Kingdom and China. Oops, my paper there. Okay, we don't want to go through all those. But so the final numbers, as I said, looking better for Trump on that. But I realize I have to take a short break. Get your last minute comments in, your last second thoughts about today's school budget vote. We do have some comments that I forgot to read when we came back from break. I did not mean to do that, so we'll read them when we come back. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Attention, Elmeron may lead to vision loss.
If you have suffered vision problems after taking Elmeron to treat bladder pain, call the Hearn Law Firm. Elmeron may be responsible for your vision problems, and you may deserve compensation for your injuries.
If you took Elmeron and now have vision problems, call the Hearn Law Firm at 888-308-3866 right now. You could find out if you qualify in less than 2 minutes. Call 888-308-3866 for your free case review.
Harder makes it hard to keep your home looking like the work of art you've always envisioned it would be. Culligan softeners reduce hard water buildup and your cleaning time, transforming every drop, every splash, every rinse into the fine art of a long-lasting clean. With a Culligan water softener, revel in the breathtaking beauty of your home, just the way you've always pictured it. Culligan, water you love.
Hey, this is John with John's Tree Service. We are locally owned and insured and rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau. John's Tree Service, your source for all your tree needs, where customer satisfaction is our guarantee. Give us a call today at 607-377-6513.
Seneca offers you breathtaking views, gorgeous waterfalls, award-winning wine, and so much more. Your experience awaits you. Come experience Seneca Lake.
It's the 2025 Cardboard Boat Regatta. Hope that boat is sturdy for the...
As always, we thank Boss Security for that beautiful view of Market Street. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Market Street in Corning. Let's go to viewer comments. Okay, Frank, historically, What are the positive versus negative story numbers for Trump versus Biden? I'm sure you can look it up on your computer quite quickly. It's outrageous how positive Joe's stories were. I don't have the numbers specifically. Newsbusters with the Media Research Center does a fantastic job with that. If you have a moment, I'll try to dig into those. They release them periodically, and I went to their website during that break to see if I could find any current ones. I could not. That does not mean anything. They'll release ones in the future. But yes, we know it. We've seen it. Trump coverage is always negative, where Biden coverage was always positive or defensive of him. And going back to what Jake Tapper admitted, that as long as Biden's people said, no, this is the case, the media believed them wholeheartedly. We know when that happens with the Trump administration, they are not believing them wholeheartedly. It's quite the opposite. They push back. So yes, you raise a good point. Comment from a different viewer. I've noticed that the bios on the school board candidates seem very vague to me. We know we are living in a politically charged world, but am I wrong that they used to identify more about their views than they do now? I agree. It's a wag the dog situation, in my opinion. Well, thank you very much. It's going to be interesting to see how everything turns out today with the school budget votes. Don't forget, you can vote from 11 to 8. And a couple more comments here. Frankly, all men should have an annual PSA test regarding their prostate. A relative who did annual PSAs skipped the test for 3 years while preliminary testing for an unrelated elective surgery. A stage 4 aggressive cancer condition similar to Joe Biden was discovered. I'm sorry to hear that. Over those 3 years, my relative had no telltale symptoms indicating prostate cancer. An annual PSA checkup is extremely important for awareness and early intervention of this condition. Thank you very much. Okay, right before we go, we have a viewer who asked if I could please air the voting places for Corning Paint and Post. I would be happy to. The polling locations for the vote are Corning Paint and Post High School, the Administrative Building at 165 Charles Street in Paint and Post, the Corning Town Hall in South Corning, or Irwin Valley School, 16 Beartown Road. Now, if you voted in the past, go to the location you had been to in the past. If you have any questions, you can contact the district clerk, and they can tell you which location you're at, or you can go to the website and it'll show what parts of Corning Paint and Post are in which of those voting booths, because you can't just go to any. So if you want that number, Karen Dutcher's number is 607-936-3704 with extension 1001. So one more time, 607-936-3704, extension 1001. Vote is from today from 11 to 8. Again, Corning Paint and Post High School, Administration Building in Paint and Post, Corning Town Hall in South Corning, or Irwin Valley School on Beartown Road. So there you go. And we will have all your results tomorrow, but make sure that you get out and vote. Finally, Trump wraps up his call with Russia's Putin, saying ceasefire talks are going to start immediately. Russia is ready to work with Kiev on a memorandum on a future peace treaty, which could include issues of a ceasefire and principles for resolving the conflict. He said negotiations towards a ceasefire will begin immediately. We are out of time. Oh, do you believe this? I meant to ask this question to you. Trump world is slamming the door on Elon Musk, that he's out. They're saying Trump has wiped Elon Musk's name from Truth Social as GOP insiders admit he's finished. Done. Gone. All right, we'll be talking about the school budgets tomorrow. We'll have a lot to cover, as well as Michael Volino is going to be our guest. He is running for Steuben County Legislature in District 9, which is Cameron, Canisteo, and Thurston. So if you have any questions for him, get them into me as soon as possible, or also just tune in tomorrow and find out. But make sure you tell your friends and neighbors in Cameron, Canisteo, and Thurston. Have a great day, everyone. We will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, with Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV, Big Fox. I look forward to it already. Go out and vote.
You think swimming Pools, think Hesselson's. Hesselson's offers expert advice, professional service, and a complete line of chemicals and accessories. Replacement liners, motors and pumps, automatic vacuums, skimmers, ladders, steps, and more. Hesselson's has it all. Do you have a chemical question? Come in for Hesselson's free computerized water analysis and the widest selection of chlorine and specialty chemicals. With Hesselson's help, you can clean up any pool problem and swim in sparkling clean water. Let Hesselson's show you how easy it can be to take care of your swimming pool. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
this old ad for you.
Right.
What's going on?
Good. How you been?
Good. How are you?
Good.
You guys been busy?
Yeah, very busy.
Good.
All good.
Good problem to have.
Yeah. And you?
Same.
Yeah. Do you have to run again this year for?
No, I'm good. I'm good for 3 years, but I'm kind of. So we've got the 3 in Irwin. We got the 3 people running for legislator, so I'm kind of watching that closely. And,
okay.
And that's kind of tough too because I'm interviewing them. I got to be so neutral, being that I'm on the town board and the resident.
Right.
So it's almost like interviewing a judge, where I'm just like boom, boom, boom. So I had all 3 on.
Yeah, I wanted.
Yeah, I thought that it's interesting because it's just fun to watch because I'm on the board with James Cool. But he voted against the sheriff.
Right.
So it's that awkwardness of 2 people that are running that are like very pro sheriff. And then
Right.
him. So the question has to come up. It's the biggest story, right? In Steuben. But I don't want it to look like I'm trying to get him either.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have a, obviously, I have a dog in the race because I'm in Irwin, but I'm not trying to be biased in any way.
I think you handled it well.
Yeah.
Didn't push him too much on it.
No, but but it was kind of weird because I'm on the Republican committee, so I'm taking out. So I took out 2 of the 3. The one girl didn't get them in the packet.
Oh.
So I took out Cools and Drenald's, and it was interesting because I didn't know so many people. I mean, I was hoping people paid attention, but as I'm taking them, they're like, "Well, where does he stand on the sheriff? Like, who are they?" And I'm like, "Well, one has no vacancy committee, and the other's vacancy committee is made up of Sheriff Allard and Kelly Fitzpatrick. So like he had like the star-studded lineup of. So I wanted to get out and get even amounts for each person.
Oh, did you?
And then I had to struggle like a son of a gun the last to get Cool to
did ya?
even like I got him a little under a page, and Drenald I got like a page and a half, maybe 2 pages, and it wasn't it wasn't like, here, just sign this one. I know you could do it that way,
right?
But that wasn't my goal of doing it because I am, you know what I mean? Like I'm being fair about it. So
No, yeah, definitely.
It's kind of a weird. I've never been in that situation necessarily, so.
So you have the Republican committee. It's in Irwin, or it's
no, it's in Steuben County.
Oh, it's the actual Steuben County.
Yeah, so I try to take them out even when it's not my year. Now I'll be honest, I'm not taking them out like I would take out my own, of course.
Right.
But I do try to get about a page for each one.
Oh, do you? Okay. Oh, okay. So just 20 signatures or something you do.
Yeah, about 20 signatures, and I figure that helps, because that's more than most people get for. And Drenald, Drenald went out. I think he got all the signatures he needed because they need 116.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, for Irwin. So he needed 116. He got somewhere around 200.
Yeah.
Cool got I think 150, and then the one girl came in at the last minute and she got like 120. But I talked to both candidates who looked it over. I mean, they were all legitimate.
Oh, is she the one that was on your show last week?
Yeah, she was the one, the middle one.
From the tow truck, or
from like BMW. I think she used it more like an ad for her BMW than she did for herself. Because she came in with a shirt that said, I'm like, okay. I'm starting to think this is less about the campaign.
Don't worry about your business.
That's all right. But you would think that would be the opposite because if you think about it, that's not going to help her business because she would have. I mean, I know she has contracts with the county, but a lot of them I think she would have to probably abstain or even
couldn't involved with it.
So I have on the bottom of the screen candidate for legislative district, blah blah blah. I should also put candidate for
Thurston Township.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, you're not even going to be able to see you. It's going to be all of what you're running for here.
Okay.
I'll show you what this looks like here in just a minute. Yeah, it's not normal to have this many political guests like that. I mean, people are paying attention this year.
Oh, they are. So you have more legislative candidates coming on, or were you just kind of reach out to all of them?
What am I doing wrong here? Candidate for legislative. Oh, I see what I did. Yeah, so I have right now. I'm good for the time being, but I'm going to try to get because I had the 2 on for Town of Corning. I'm going to try to get everybody on. No one else has reached out. Like your opponents haven't reached out to me. So normally I make the rule that you have to reach out.
Right.
Irwin was different. Because I didn't want to leave one person out, being that I'm on board.
Right.
I'm not trying to do that. So, that was a scenario where someone had given me Kim's number. Is that her name? It just escapes me right now. But Yeah. So I did do that.
But then isn't there a Democrat running too?
Yeah,
So
but we're not there yet. Like I'm worried about the primary. I don't want to get I don't want to get people confused.
It's
because it's, let me tell you, it's confusing enough, as you can imagine. And you probably know, but also the fact that it's like the town or the school board and all that's on the same time. So people between the primary, because people aren't used to local primaries. It's been a long time. Now off the record, how's your opponent doing anything or?
For either one?
Yeah.
One for town supervisor, he's a little more active. I saw yesterday he put up a few signs. The one for county legislature, he joined our board meeting via Zoom last month.
Okay.
But I went over to Kansas to a meeting last week, and I thought he'd be there, but he wasn't.
He wasn't?
I don't know what you're on.
Did you say he had signs?
My opponent for town supervisor, he put up a few signs yesterday. That was the first. I mean, I've had mine signs up for maybe a few weeks now.
Yeah, I know. I'm curious. I haven't seen any from Irwin yet.
Right. Yeah.
Because the thing is, I mean, it's a month.
Right.
And I mean, if you don't, essentially, right? So if you don't get them pretty soon.
Pretty soon. I mean, yeah, my opponent for town supervisor, he's come to every board meeting for a year. He wants. Yeah, Max was right.
Yeah, right.
What could you know?
So just to go over the questions quick. We'll ask you about your background.
Yeah.
Why you decided to run and kind of take on the role of two. You know what I mean? Taking both of these on.
Yeah.
Your goals and platform.
Right.
Do you feel that being the town supervisor can help you in the legislature? That's obviously these are all like easy questions. Issues you see dealing with. I want to talk about the flooding, the sheriffs, and then the sheriff will lead into the statement from the board that you guys.
Oh, okay.
I think you definitely want to highlight that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll even ask like, why did you feel that? Why was that necessary or something?
Okay. Sure.
Because this is I will put it this way. This show, when the sheriff shares it, gets about 1,000 views on his YouTube. So this is very pro sheriff. So whatever you think. I mean, I'm not trying to persuade you to whatever. But I'm just telling you, you can't. If you are pro sheriff, you can't. It does not hurt you on this show to say.
Oh yeah, no,
because I kind of felt like Justin in the town of Corning is trying to play like the middle road. I don't think this is a topic you can do middle road.
I don't think it is, and honestly, I really didn't know a lot about it, and it was just after our county legislator, after she voted to go to the appeal.
What are we going to keep? So why are we spending this money? I mean,
and, I thought about that listening to the cool the other days. Like we're talking about conservative budget. I agree with you. So we need to really think how we're spending every little penny.
So you're telling us we might lose money, and in doing so, you're spending $250,000.
Well, isn't it the irony? Like, they remove his indemnification liability insurance to avoid a lawsuit. But they create
a lawsuit, and they were told, like, and then that Van Etten has the full power to appeal, and it's like, wait a minute.
Well,
what?
Exactly. So if you want to appeal this, you go use your private money and appeal him.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why
do we have to?
Why
pay
do
for
our
it?
taxes for your personal garage run?
I know. We don't need that. That's not a question for you. And then I want to make sure, if you don't have it, I can print out for you, but to have the information about the Meet the Candidate event.
Right, yeah, we got that.
You got that? I figure you have it in your head, but that's something you want to promote that heavy.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
And I'm going to play this tomorrow, as I told you, at, let me just write it down so I don't forget. Tomorrow at 7, it'll be right around 7:10, 7:20. Is that okay?
Okay, 7:10.
I would say 7:10.
Okay, I'll let people know.
But you tell me what's better, 7:10 or 7:20.
Well, we've been telling some people 7:20.
Then 7:20 it is.
Okay.
I couldn't remember what I told you.
Right,
I wasn't.
right, yeah.
I did 7:10 for a different reason with Irwin, but okay, so no problem. Nope.
All right, sounds good.
1L, right?
1L for
Does that
Michael.
look right? Oh, for Alino. Is that how you say it?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Everything look good?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Look at that. I had to put your damn resume up there. All right, here we go. And you know the routine. Someone might wave. I'm not telling you to stop. But if someone walks by and waves, you know, I'm just waving to them. I'm going to look at the camera at first, but then it's just you and me having the conversation, okay? Is there anything on top of what I just told you that you feel like you want me to hit on specifically?
No, I think that's pretty
much it, right?
Pretty much it. Sounds pretty good.
I've done enough of these by now. I hope I hit all the questions. Every once in a while, though, I will forget something and go, how the hell? You've done 1,000 of these things, you know? I've got 4 interviews today.
Wow.
And they could not be more different. So it's kind of stressful.
You're airing them all tomorrow?
No, so you're the only one. I've got to talk to the one and see where they want me to book it.
Oh.
You're the only one that's going to be at that prime beginning of 7 o'clock hour. This is for Colonial Days in Painted Post.
Okay.
They're looking for Miss Colonial Days people.
Gotcha.
So that one will probably be maybe tomorrow 7:30, maybe Thursday, because Thursday we actually have the sheriff on. And then Friday. So I've got these recorded ones are on top of the live ones that I have. The sheriff's on Thursday. Joe Semplinsky's on Friday.
Oh, okay.
And he's like they both are fan favorites. And then so today I have you.
Yeah.
Then I have a fundraiser in Ithaca or in Corning.
Oh.
And then Miss Colonial Days, then International Exchange Student Program. So they could not be more different. So planning for that is a little bit, you got to get in out of different modes of your head, I suppose.
Right.
All right, here. So the mic is good. You don't have to lean into the mic because it is a boom mic, but I am going to move it a little bit for you, okay?
All right.
Okay. All right, here we go. I got so many sponsors, which is a good thing, but I got to remember them all. Okay. All right, here we go. Oops.